Hey, black man, are you okay? Oh, Joe, what's happening?
Man, what's up, G?
What's happening?
What's up?
Just saying, man. I'm trying to get like you out
It's
here,
been
man.
a minute. Nah, man. It took me 2 months to get the bottom of my neck to act right. So
What? All right. Anyway, my guy.
what up?
Oh man, no, just it's weird living life, and like I'm thoroughly enjoying everything that's happening. Like
What's cool?
tons of blessings,
For sure.
just rolling his way, and you know what I'm saying. And I'm glad I'm able to just kind of, man, we in a studio, and it's coming together once again. It's piece by piece. Got this wall up in here that we put in.
Fire.
Man, it's lit. What you got going on though, man? 'Cause
Man.
last time, I think what was the last time we was on? What was the last time we did this? It's been a minute.
August. Yeah, August was
Yeah,
the
that one's still sitting there.
Yeah.
Well, how's everything been going, brother?
Since August or just overall?
Overall, man.
Overall, everything been straight. Went to Florida again. Kicked it down there.
Everybody from Wichita has been going to Florida to go. Like, I don't want to say everybody, but
just kicking it.
Yeah.
I went down there just for a little vacation. Did that. Just been traveling for real, for work and for pleasure. Other than that, school started for the kids, so taking care of Ramon, making sure he good, and really improving. Actually, just taking another step in my faith walk, and separating and elevating my faith.
It's huge
with God. So
huge.
It's been straight.
Yeah,
it's been straight. I love Jesus, but I cuss a little still, so I'm working on it. But
yeah, same. I'm saved, but I can still throw these things, and sometimes I be.
Bro, you don't cuss.
No, not the cussing part.
I said I cuss a little. You said me too.
Well, you know what I meant. Like I still have a shortcoming, my brother.
Okay.
I'm still falling short of some things.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? But a lot has been happening lately. I'm like, man, I got to sit down and talk to my boys about this.
Let's rap.
Man, these young brothers, where are they getting guns from? I'm still trying to figure this out. We've had, man, that was earlier this year. I was talking to a police officer, and he was like, "Yo, we've definitely we're on path to surpass the amount of homicides in this city, like the record of homicides, and that was in May or June. We were on path to surpass it because we were like 12 away at that time. I think the record was like, man, don't quote me, I think it's 57 or 58 homicides in 1 year.
And that was like a few years ago.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that wasn't too long ago.
I know. I'm like, yo, they shooting people when it's cold outside? Like,
that's the worst time. Arguing over turkeys and dinners and stuff.
Right.
Stupid.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, did we have, were guns accessible like that when we were in high school?
They were, but we didn't worry about it. It's really, I think it really just comes down to we knew how to fight.
Straight up.
And so if we had an issue with each other, we either meet us in the locker room, wrestling room, on the yard, something like that.
The park.
Wasn't nobody getting shot
Right.
when we was younger. Nowadays, I think with the influence and the pressure of trying to be cool, a different level of gang mentality, or a certain type of street cred that these young cats feel like they need to do, they got to keep the clip on them or keep the peace on them at all time. And it's so bad now. The slang is crazy because you'll come up to them and be like, we knew about burners and carry the heat, stuff like that. They talking about, Dracos, the Yappa, the Hammer, the Blicky, all this other stuff.
Yeah.
That, and you be like, the hell you talking about? You got a gun? Oh, all right, you got a gun. Just say you got a gun. And there's nothing wrong with protecting yourself, but the problem is, the flashing it all around, doing all this other stuff. And then in Kansas, with it being an open carry state.
Mm-hmm. You don't think about it. Yeah.
I mean, there's cats that walk. I see cats all the time just walking around with their guns on the hip like it's the Wild West. So.
Yeah, and I'm like, y'all do know, like, not all of them are 18.
Right.
It's open carry. You're
Right.
18 years old.
Right.
So they walking around carrying these ARs and banana clips and stuff like that in their cars. And, yo, it's so crazy to me. It's still, like, what happened? Because it's like, like you said, it's cool. It's like, if you want to have a gun, I'm speaking to adults, 18 and up. If you want to have a gun, you can keep you a Glock or a pistol or something like that. That's fine. But
I feel like
if you need to walk around with it to protect yourself, then wherever you going or the people you with.
But you know the issue with most of the killings is between 18 and like 25.
Yeah. So
even if you're adult, it's still an issue. The problem is that I think the more accessible with you being an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20-year-old, that's where, the accidental shootings of these babies or, 12, 13-year-old. I always said it was like your big cousin or your big homie just left it laying around and he was like, cool, but I take this real quick, I'll bring it back, he ain't gonna know. So, between that and then, whatever is watched in TV, whatever they like to watch.
I'm glad you said that.
Between TV and, video games too. Fortnite and, Grand Theft Auto and all these Call of Duty, all these games, these kids is just curious, like, man, this is dope. Just fun. And then the, what is it? The endorphins that you get, the high that you get from the satisfaction of killing somebody in the game. Some people, it really messes with them mentally, like, I need this in real life, and then it could change from that too. Not that I'm saying I'm blaming it on all that, but I know a lot of the influences comes from playing games and just the interest and curiosity of like, what that feel like in real life. So,
okay, so I feel like there's three reasons why. There's a lot of shootings and murders, homicides, or whatever with the the young men that age between 17 and 25. Right. You hit one of them, which was what they see on TV. Yeah. We can say video games, whatever. It like psychologically, it's putting something in the back of your head about that. But definitely one of them is what you see on TV, what you see all these rappers doing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They got this, they got that. But what they're saying, half of the majority of those rappers wouldn't bust a grape. But what they said on the song sound good. You know what I'm saying?
And they be getting put on blast with social media too, because you go on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, even the shorts, and be like, so-and-so got caught slipping. See what he did, or gunshot was rang out in his hood, see how he reacted type stuff. So,
man. Anyway, so that was the first one. The second one is, because I want to save the one that I have on the tip of my tongue for the last. What was the second one? Was it? Yeah, it might have been. Is it their parents? It's their parents.
I would say older siblings.
Would you say the generation before them? Us?
Yes.
Okay, I agree.
Yes, our generation. Because it's a lot of us our age is either passed away or we locked up. It ain't too many of us out here that's still active, been through the activities, and now trying to guide them to be like, yo, these activities ain't what you want.
Absolutely. Let me back up a little bit with what I'm saying, because I said something about the shootings and the killings and like, this is why. No, it's more why like this Gen Z generation is acting a fool. And yeah, I definitely say that for our generation, we haven't left the proper the breadcrumbs to the right places. And actually, the third one ties in with this to me, and I feel like a lot of this younger generation is depressed because, and let me tell you why. I feel like they're depressed because we've done a lot of the stuff for them. So when it's their turn, they're doing it because we're just like, here, right? But once they come upon something or someone that tells them no or that denies them, they don't know what to do because we haven't taught them how to deal with rejection.
So is it depression or sensitive or both?
It's both.
Okay.
They're sensitive because they're. I was gonna say they're sensitive because they're depressed, but is that? I don't think that correlates.
I think it's a combination of both, regardless.
Yeah.
They was raised by a lot of us,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of us who may not have the core standards that our parents put in us are babies trying to raise babies. And so if we still out here grinding, doing everything we can, and they paying attention and soaking the game up to us,
Yeah.
they don't come out with the same street savvy that we have.
Right.
They just see us like we grinding everything, we trying to get a bag, and then when we come home, we dropping cash, giving them games and everything like that. So they see it as, oh, mom and dad gonna provide for us. But then, like I said, if one of us gets killed or something like that, if we go away, then they just like, well, you know, my mom and dad gave me all this, so I'm gonna just ask them for it. And then when they ain't got that guidance for them, then they don't know who to go to because we didn't fully instill or we didn't teach them what they need to do just in case we leave or we gone or something like that. Not for everybody.
Yeah.
But for a majority of us. And the problem is like, it's almost a milestone for us black men to make it past the age of, I said 30 5 years ago. It's a milestone now to make it past 25. And then the problem is,
right now.
is when you're 25, you know, you might have a slip up to where you could have a kid at the age of 16, 17. So you got a 5 or 6 year old. By the time you're 25 and you pass away, then it's like, they gone. Or you get to the other end where you're 25, 26 and you got a baby on the way, or you just had a newborn and they're growing up without a father because of how life is treating us as black men. So we got to be careful and stay on our P's and Q's. But as far as a lot of these kids in this generation, I think it's just a lack of guidance from people who they trust and who they feel like they can roll up to. Because there's a lot of kids who may look at me and you as role models, but we don't take the time to talk to them and be like, yo, what's up? And it's not necessarily we can't talk to them, but the way we talk to them is so old school now. In their mind, it's like, yo, you ain't gonna talk to me any kind of way, or you know, you gonna have to get shot, or you gonna have to catch these hands.
Right.
And it's like, the problem is, this is how you need to be talked to get reality into your life, because everybody ain't gonna talk to you all extra nice and positive and everything like that. First of all, if I'm talking to you that way, you done probably did something dumb or stupid that you shouldn't have been doing, because I already know you a better person than the way you trying to act. And so because you out here acting crazy, if you want to do that, that's fine, but don't act crazy and then try to come back and be like, yo, I'm just doing that for fun. You know, I'm doing that for social media and that. No, you got to keep it real at all times. The problem is you get exposed by everybody else and everybody start talking about you. Then that's when you start to get sensitive and depressed, because you got so many people roasting you about you trying to live this life that you ain't about. That now it's time, well, I got to smoke everybody. You can't smoke everybody in the world. Ain't no bullets.
Well, you see, we dealt with a little bit of that, but we wasn't trying to smoke nobody. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like
you got clowned on, you got your skills got to be up.
Oh, absolutely.
But a lot of times we did it out of love too.
Oh yeah.
We weren't trying to we weren't trying to say anything that's just gonna be malicious. A lot of times, and we kept it towards each other. We weren't talking about everybody's mamas and daddies and everything like that. And if we did, it'd be just we was being kids being kids. Yeah. But a lot of times these kids act like they adults and be trying to put a lot of stuff on their mental that they shouldn't even have to worry about right now.
Right. Yeah. So, it's like we trying to grow them up super fast. You know what I'm saying? Well,
we guilty of it, bro.
Yeah. No, this is a fact. And I think they are the result of the millennials not or let's say running from the morals or asking the question, why is this that,
or communicating, period.
And then so we ask our parents, why is this that, and then we run off and do whatever it is that we want to do, right? You know, it's like, you know, I'm gonna try this. Now, I'm not in the house anymore, I'm gonna try it. I'm not going to say the generation before us didn't do that, but it's prevalent more than now, or it's prevalent more now that we did step out, and then that we decided to do, we decided to go get this tattoo. We decided, and then, whatever. I'm just saying whatever, and then we decided to go work at this place and quit school, or we decided to stop going to church, and we just stopped. You know what I'm saying? It's stuff like that. Right. We decided to make our own decisions. Also, we were a part of the generation. Oh, that was the second one I wanted to say. Social media.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But I guess let's say 4. Yeah. That'd be number 4.
Yeah, social media for sure.
But we were there at the birth of social media. You know what I'm saying? So we had we had Black Planet, we had MySpace, we had Facebook. Now there's Twitter. But see, this
YouTube was fresh.
YouTube was YouTube was really brand new. 2006 or something like that.
Yeah.
So
WorldStar was big.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't even realize WorldStar had been around for years. It wasn't just a fad thing. Like WorldStar been around for years, and a lot of people still go to WorldStar for a lot of stuff. So, I mean, that was big. And then, I want to say,
I really can't remember anything else outside of WorldStar.
I think the other thing is technology.
Yeah.
We was at the beginning of the technology getting better to where the social media was integrated just to phones being able to catch everything easier than it was like, oh, you got to take this video and then you got to upload it. Now everything's live.
Also, we were learning coding with MySpace.
And didn't
even know that we learned how to code. Like we had to go and get this code from this website so that we can have this picture on this one. So you put the code here, and you got to type this, and then it'll be on your wallpaper, or it'll be somewhere just down your wall.
And then downloading your music and putting that in, all that code and all that, getting your backgrounds right, knowing which background to use, all that. It was wild.
Yeah. But I think with all of that, I had this discussion with, I forget who it was the other day, but basically monkey see, monkey do.
That's all it is. Sponges.
Like they're doing what we show them, And
that's what I was saying earlier. Like they seen us when they were growing up. We running around doing everything, trying to get the bag, all this other stuff, and then we come home and we spoil them with, toys and clothes and all this other stuff, and all they got to do is ask. And it's kind of that thing where I didn't have it when I was growing up, so I'm gonna make sure my kids got everything that I didn't have.
Right.
It's a lot of stuff that a lot of us didn't grow up with, and then if we just give it all to them, then by the time they get our age, they're just like they need something new.
Yeah.
That instant gratification is serious, and so I don't know. It's a lot going on, but overall, a lot of people try to say that this generation is lost, and I get where they're coming from as far as the generation is lost, but the problem is the generation that's telling us we lost has given up on us for the most part and don't want to help fix us the way it should be. So, for example, if I was to go to an older person that was in late 40s, early 50s, that type of thing. Mm-hmm. The first thing come out their mouth was, y'all built different than us. Y'all different than us. Back in the day, we used to do this, this, and this. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what you need to tell to all the generations instead of us trying to relay it, because there's still an aspect of younger kids respecting their elders. But a lot of times the elders is not going to be the 80, 90-year-olds. It's going to be like your mid 40s to 50s, because there's grandparents now that are younger than 40. So you could be 37, 38, be a grandparent. By the time you mid 40s, you're expected to have the same respect as if somebody who was 60 or 70, like our grandparents were when we were younger.
Right.
But if we out here still trying to live the life that we see on TV, or the younger years, because we still in our 40s and everything, we trying to kick it. If the younger kids, grandkids, or kids that are younger seeing us kicking it, that's what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
If that's what my grandma and that's what my dad doing, you know, I'm kicking it. And it's crazy because these kids come out smart. And by the time they're 4 or 5,
Yeah.
if they're 4 or 5 and we're only 24, 25 as parents, if we out here kicking it, still doing drugs, all this other stuff, that's what they're going to learn doing. So by the time they grow up and get to high school and everything, oh, I seen this when my mama did it. I seen this when my daddy do it. So I'm going to try it out. That's what they was doing when I was younger.
I'm going to go ahead and say these kids are not lost.
No.
They're
just too smart for their own
what
good.
they know. That's literally it. They're just doing what they know.
Yeah.
What are we showing them? You know, once again,
that's another problem.
It's not, for me, we stopped embracing them. We stopped having little brothers and little sisters, you know what I'm saying, as like millennials or just as an older generation. So once we stopped, it left, and I don't want to dive so far into the names, but like the Gen X and the baby boomers or whatever, the older parents and then the grandparents, you know, that leaves them to have to teach them. But now there is a generational barrier between both of them, which is where we sit.
And
there's no bridge there. That's why the communication
right.
is so distraught. That's why, like, see, us, there was a lot of things that we stopped doing that they used to do all the time, whether it was a habit or a tradition or whether we had different ideals, you know, stuff like that. We stopped. And then they started.
And a lot of stuff
different.
A lot of stuff that they did, we viewed as it should be, it's wrong or it's a generational curse or something like that. But a lot of times we didn't realize that was our foundation. Now, if it was wrong at the time to where we felt like we didn't need it to be done, as far as, I'll just give you the prime example, going to college. You got to go to college. You got to graduate. You got to get a degree. You got to do that.
Yeah.
Information technology, you ain't even got to worry about all that. You can make your money off a phone, run a business, everything straight off the phone.
Right.
The problem is we know that, but we didn't want to teach that to the younger generation. We wanted to keep all that for ourselves, learn everything. And that's another thing.
That's true.
I think the information in the game doesn't want to be shared because nobody wants to give secrets to somebody else to where they end up being better than what they were. But that initially should be our mentality anyway. We should want people to either be at our level or exceed our level.
Yeah.
So that way they can be great, because all you're doing is passing that greatness through, and that's the positivity everybody needs. But nobody wants to give all the gems. Everybody like, well, I'm going to teach you 75%. And if they're really struggling with that 25%, they're just like, bro, what do I need to do? Oh, man, you got to figure that out, bro. I can't tell you everything, even though you know exactly what they're doing. Then that bounces back to where their mentality is not as strong as what we are. So that's what leads to the depression and the sensitivity, because they just like, well, I asked and nobody wanted to help. And then you'll get around some people like us, well, you didn't ask me, so it's time to ask now. And then they fed up because they like, I shouldn't have to need you. And that's where these kids is getting smart at. They know better and they sit around and think, and they're very critical thinkers. That's why I will say they critically think a lot. The problem is we, as our generation, like to get into the mode where you ain't disrespecting me, you ain't talking to me like that and everything like that. But the problem is if they never were taught how to speak to somebody,
that's it.
they just speaking what's on their mind. So the same time where we say,
just stop, man.
We say, say what's on your mind, they saying what's on their mind.
Right.
They just doing it in a way to where you want to square up with them. But the problem is, if you talk to them the same way, that's what they learn from us. So it's a cycle.
Yeah. We just continue to repeat the cycle by not, like, we went away from those morals, like having those morals that are, which were set in place by all the people who were here before us.
Right.
Set in place so that we knew how to walk. You know, you train a child up so they know which way to go when they're an adult, and then we're getting away from the child actually being the child, and the child is now like our friend, they're, they have YouTube, they have TikTok. Some of them are actually making money and they become super independent and like, I'll just buy this myself, or, I don't need you, pops, or I don't need you, mom, to help me with anything. I got it, and then, like they become so independent that they disconnect. Now, I feel like You ready for this? This is the biggest root behind, I feel like, why us millennials, especially as black men, are so disconnected from our youth, our young boys. We don't go get help. We don't go. We won't sit in therapy. We choose not to go and have therapy. Now, here's another thing. The cycle continues. We were raised where the only help you go, the only professional help you go get is from like the pastor or the deacons or role models, people who didn't go to school for this or who didn't, now I agree. You should have some spiritual guidance. You should have some spiritual therapy or a spiritual therapist or, that's me personally. That's what I feel. But when you try to send me to, and this isn't my personal experience, but if you're directing me to Pastor, Terry, and Pastor Terry is, a shepherd of the church, but he hasn't studied or there's no experience for him when it comes to dealing with domestic violence. Now, yeah, I'm gonna get great spiritual guidance. I'm like, man, well, what's the first thing I can start with right now? Like, so I can stop thinking about this. What if I'm not a believer or if I'm new to the faith? Like they could tell Troy, hey, Troy, I want you to, we want you to just quit doing this, or why don't you take some time to just relax, take 10 minutes away from, speaking to your wife if things get too hot, and then come back after you've gathered yourself and then, something like that. Instead, hey, y'all need to pray about it. Well, what if I'm new? What if I just now started believing in this? No, you need to pray. You need to pray. You need to try it. Or what if I'm not a believer and I'm coming and I need help? Like someone has to direct me. What if I don't know how to pray? And I'm talking about our community mostly, what I'm saying? Because this is where all this leads to. So going to go see like an actual therapist was blasphemy almost. You know what I'm saying?
You got talked about as if you was crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Or you got to go see a shrink.
Right.
Yeah, you might need to give him some meds.
Which I'm gonna say right now.
Real quick before you say that.
All right.
Real quick.
Oh boy.
Even further, us black men, as black boys, we're taught you gotta be tough. You can't cry. You can't have no emotions. Not that you can't show them.
Right.
You can't have no emotions except aggression. You know what I'm saying? You gotta you gotta throw some dirt on it and you gotta go. Do you know what that actually does to a boy once he's an adult and he has all these emotions that he was taught not to have, but they're gonna be there because he's human. And he's 36 years old. And he's got a wife and he's got 3 kids. Oh wait, no. Let's be realist about this. He's 36 years old. He got 2 baby mamas. He got 3 kids. Because like statistically, we're supposed to have baby mamas. And in his mind, he's just this tough guy. What do you think happens to that man once you told him when he was 6 years old, you cannot cry, you cannot be sad, no emotions? Throw some dirt on it and get it done. That is a slave mentality. That is what you did with Massa. You don't cry. You don't do that in front of Massa. You don't show him no weakness. You do what you're supposed to be. You do what you were told. And you get going. Bruh. We have fallen apart. I want to say we're broken, but we're not broken off. Because I feel like there's still hope.
The problem is we'll never be broken off.
Mm.
Because if we keep reproducing and creating, there's always a chance for the cycle to be broken. The problem is when everyone is just lost.
Mm.
But everyone's not lost. It's always a choice. You always have that discernment. You always have that conviction of knowing right from wrong. And that's the one thing that kind of saves us, or that's our grace.
Yeah.
That saves us is that, after a while, you get that funny feeling. Whether you believe or not, you get that funny feeling like, hey, I'm going to quit doing this. Or you get in a situation. You see somebody get killed. You get in a fight. And somebody's getting beaten half to death, and then you got to be that person to take them to the hospital. That's traumatic. Something traumatic happens.
Right.
That'll change you to where you're going to quit doing it. The problem is that's usually what it takes for somebody to want to change, and it shouldn't be that way.
No.
So I definitely understand where you're coming from, but to go back on how to get help from a non-believer, somebody who doesn't believe in God or is not a Christian or anything like that. The first thing to do is when you're lost, you need to find someone who's going to show you unconditional amount of love. When you find somebody who loves you for who you are, no matter what you're going through, that still wants to help you out, that's the first step.
Okay.
It could be your homeboy. It could be a figure, mother figure, father figure, something like that. It could be somebody like that. Relying on a woman who think they gonna give you sex to make you feel better ain't gonna do it. Or relying on a man who think they gonna give you sex ain't gonna do it. Sex don't cure pain.
Ever.
So that's the second thing. The third thing is you're gonna have to find peace within yourself and then find trust into somebody else that you can trust to be open and actually communicate about the things that you was never able to talk about. Until you create a safe space with somebody to want to open up and talk about those things where you can be real and not be judged,
right?
You're never going to say nothing.
Yeah, once again, these are generational curses.
But it's also stuff that we weren't taught when we were younger. This is stuff that we had to figure out, that we had to slave through, that we had to be with multiple women to figure out, that we had to have multiple traumatic events to figure out. For us to have multiple cats that died, to have the people that's closest to us get shot and killed over senseless violence. This is all that had to go on for us to be able to be like, yo, this is what you got to do. And it's unfortunate, but that's the way it is. So it's not completely lost. But at the end of the day, we can't save everybody.
This is true.
But at the end of the day, you have to want to change and not just fake the funk or go through the emotions like, oh, I want to be. You can't straddle the fence. You can't have 1 foot in the street and then 1 foot wanting to have peace.
But society kind of shows you that, like,
it'll show you that.
It tells you that, hey, you got to be like this, you got to be like that. If you want to be rich, or if you want to be famous, or if you want to be wealthy, if you want to have money in the bank, or if you want to take care of your family, if you want to be comfortable, you have to be this way. You have to, if you want to live like this dude, this artist right here, who got money, women, jewelry, houses, cars, clothes, everything, boats, you got to do this. You got to go rap. You got to go shoot somebody. You got to go join a gang. You got to get some tattoos. You got to get some goals in your mouth. You got to sip lean. You got to smoke weed every day, all day. You know what I'm saying? And
there's a caveat to the smoking weed part, but I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's just,
it goes,
at least for us, that was the image growing up, because
right.
we just different now. Like, it's not the same.
Right.
But go ahead.
I said you got to find somebody, that's going to love you, and that's true. But you got to be willing to find the peace within yourself too. Now, spiritual background, we always going to say, here's the word, this is what God says. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't want to hear that, which is fine. So then you got to figure out, all right, If you want to hear the right way of what we feel is going to be right, here's what you need to do. Because these are three things that's universal. Love is universal. Peace is universal. Wisdom and knowledge is universal. So, if you find somebody who loves you unconditionally, who's already had the peace and is at peace in their life, the last thing that you're going to have to do, that's somebody that you love and that is peaceful, is respect them. And respect comes from wisdom and knowledge and knowing that, hey, I want to be like you, so you teach me the game. So if I'm teaching you the game with my knowledge and wisdom, it's because I love you and I have peace with myself to show you the ropes on how you can live the same life I live to where you don't have to go through everything. Those are the three key everything else don't even matter. You got to have somebody that loves you, that's going to force you to love yourself, which brings you peace. And once you find peace and you can love yourself, then you can learn how to live a better life.
So tell me, what if they feel like there's someone in their life that, they don't have anyone in their life that can give them or showcase them that unconditional love? What if they like my family died, or I just feel like I'm the only one who cares about me? You know what I'm saying?
There are times where we hard-headed, where God, regardless of whatever your belief is, God places people in your life for a reason to try to help you out. A lot of times the people who are trying to do right and show you right are the ones we shun off the first, because we feel that they are weird, or they don't know what I've been through, or they can't relate to me, so I gotta move around from them. They weirdos. The weirdos is always the ones that usually are trying to help you out, because it's not necessarily that they weird, but they could probably relate to what you're going through. They just ain't been through the same struggles. And sometimes it'd be the most least likely people that you can open up to and create a bond to where y'all can get through things together.
Right.
Just from personal experience. But a lot of times we don't want, like you said, we don't want to be shown as weak or being soft or anything like that. So we just keep it held in. But that's what causes communication issues, to where you're supposed to be in an adult life to where you can't even, you're our age and you still can't even communicate right, because you ain't been willing, or you have not been willing to open up to somebody that you trust or that you love to get the help you need. Because I agree, it's weird to go into a psychiatrist or somebody that got degrees and for them to just prescribe you a medication and say you'll be better, because that don't work. Seen it, haven't gone through it, but seen the results of what can happen. You just end up being a druggie.
Right.
And at the end,
you start depending on that pill to make you feel a certain type of way.
Right. And then at the end of the day, I used to be against smoking weed and everything like that. And I still kind of am. But the reason why I'm against it is because a lot of people don't know the judgment of when you first try to get your career started. Most of the time, you got to take a P-test for work, or you got to be shown clean to most people before they even look at you. Because the first thing they're going to think is when you black and you smoke weed, you just a thug, straight up thug, male or female. Or you're hostile, or you're the aggressive person. And we don't know if we need that around. Now, there's other opportunities as far as CBDs and things like that, to where you can smoke and do and edibles and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, if that's what gets you calm and everything like that, that's cool. Just use it in moderation to where it gets you focused and straight. Don't abuse it to where you got to seek that kind of high all the time, because a lot of people, one, don't like smelling it. Two, can tell whether you are impaired to where you're just talking about goofy stuff, or if you just high, regardless. And three, you can use the whole, it's of the earth and, it's healthy and safe for you and everything, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, anything that is worth more than your life improving, as far as you thinking your life is improved by sitting on the couch high and every day and you can't pay bills and everything else, but you feel good, it's not what you want.
No.
And unfortunately, there's a lot of people that do that. So it's use in moderation.
Right.
It can be a drug or a stimulant to help you out, but it's not something that you should depend on. You should always depend on making sure your life is straight however you feel like it is. And we always get talked about, because we believe in God, and there's a lot of people who don't believe in God and physically want to. I need to see this, man, for you to do it.
It's gotta be tangible. Huh?
Yeah, it's got to be tangible. But there's a lot of times where the science can be put in to where you feel like, okay, if you believe in something that you haven't seen before, why is your belief or the way your life is better than mine? If we both have the same basics that we're looking for, which is love, peace, and knowledge. Just because you follow a different person or you follow a different way of life, I don't judge you for it. If you got love, if you bring in peace, or if you got knowledge that I can utilize, I'm going to need you. Regardless, if I feel like I'm in a good space, I can always learn.
I'm just going to continue being an example, you know.
Yeah, but
my example is Christ.
But we got to be open. We got to be open even as Black Christian men. And it's a lot of people would be afraid to say it, but we're not afraid to say it.
No.
I think the problem is as Black Christian men, nobody wants to get into the whole biblical aspect of dropping verses all the time. But being a Christian shouldn't mean you have to drop verses all the time. Being a Christian means you shouldn't judge anybody for the way they live. If you know the standards and the commandments and the fruits of the Spirit and everything like that, as far as showing love, kindness, peace, not judging, giving grace.
Yes.
As a Christian, we should just walk by that day in and day out. And as Black men, we shouldn't worry about if somebody believes in, somebody believes in Allah, or if somebody believes in reincarnation, or if somebody refers to men and women as objects that you don't understand. Should be willing to learn what they are, what their way of life is. And even if you don't agree with it, agree to disagree, because their sole purpose is living a positive lifestyle full of love and peace. But you got to be able to learn. Now, a lot of times as Christians, we don't want to hear it, because if it's not of God, it's evil, and you're worshiping false gods and everything. And that's true to our belief. But at the end of the day, when you read the word in full, you still need to respect your brother. You still need to love your brother or sister. And at the end of the day, you got to be...
Love your neighbor as you love yourself.
You got to be open to love and have peace with yourself, to give love and peace to somebody else, to receive it and make the world go round.
Man, let's not get talking about
I'm just saying
the folk in the church who
that's the biggest
in the barrel, who got the same they got the same seat, the same parking lot every Sunday, and you
can't preach and teach the word and then call somebody else a sin, but yet you sinning in the background and can't nobody see.
Come on, man. I done drove past your house. I done seen that bottle in your hand. I done seen it.
Seen the lights on after the times that you preach about the lights shouldn't be on.
Yeah. Oh,
seen the cars in the driveway that don't belong there, that you try to say if that person don't live there, they don't need to be there. All that stuff.
Right. Absolutely.
All that stuff.
But see, there's another conversation I actually love, is that whole hypocrite conversation. So that's the reason why a lot of people. Now I get it. There's truly some people that gotten hurt by the whole, like, I looked up to y'all, or I looked up to you, and I'm here in this church, and then I'm actually looking at your ways, and it was admirable, and you were bringing me closer to Christ.
Right.
But then you pulled this, like, you cheating on your wife. You know what I'm saying? You got kids out of wedlock, or let me not say wedlock, because most of us were out of wedlock. You have you got children with other women,
right,
and multiple women, and it could be a whole bunch of things, man. It could be a whole bunch of things that you're doing. You're alcoholic. You shouldn't drink to get drunk, right? Sex before marriage. There's a whole bunch of stuff, man. But we get so, that's upsetting. That really is.
Yeah.
I just, I wish we were better. I really wish the older generation before us, the examples were a lot better. Because to me, they just seem very mean, all around, all the way around. They just seem very mean, especially the ones in the church. Just mean and judgmental, and unkind,
and that's the thing.
Not loving.
That's really what it is.
You know what I'm saying? The opposite of the stuff we're learning.
It's the judgmental part, bro.
Yeah,
that's all
they don't. I'm very well aware that there's a lot of them that don't like me, And I'm okay with that. And I'm not going anywhere. I'm still in this church. I'm gonna still serve. And I pray that I can continue to, get or bring more people to Christ, especially these young people. I can care less about. I love the older folk. I'm not gonna I ain't forgot about them.
Right.
But the ones that are just like
judgmental,
you know what I'm saying, and always got something to say about something that I'm doing that's not wrong, like kissing my wife in front of the kids, just giving her a kiss, just a, you know what I'm saying?
Your wife that guy said is good. Well, anyway,
a problem. Anyway. No, that was a real situation at the church, and we're behind all the kids. First off, and we're watching a movie. Lights were dim, so you're looking at me, adult. Much older adult, and you got a problem with that? I'm not going to stop kissing my wife. That's my wife.
Right. If
anything, they need to see
what real love is.
That's what I'm saying.
For sure.
That's it, bro. But I'm
gonna jump on the other side.
Yeah.
With the elevation and the separation that I've been having with my spiritual walk, I've come to find out that a lot of times the main purpose of a Christian is to bring them closer to Christ.
Yes.
But the first part is still loving them and showing them that they can be loved. And I feel like the main part of being a Christian man that we fail to realize is that we're not going to bring everybody to Christ, which is cool.
Yeah.
I could care less if could care less if you were to judge me because I believe in God.
Yeah.
What I would care about is if I gave you all the peace and the love and the happiness and the positivity that you seek for, but yet you still want to act like there's nobody in your life that care about you.
Ain't that crazy?
That's the issue that I have. And so then when you go to jail or you get, in a situation that's dire and everything, and you keep coming to me, eventually you're going to burn that bridge. And so a lot of times, a lot of these people have that help in the background, but then want to jump out and have that attention and seek that attention. All attention ain't good attention.
No.
And so the problem is, don't try to get the help in the background, but then be capping everywhere else like, don't nobody love me, don't nobody love this, because you want a certain type of attention from a certain type of person that's going to make you feel better and look better to everybody else.
Right.
That ain't what you need. And a lot of times, what we need ain't what we want.
Ooh.
Just keeping it real.
That's just what it is.
For sure.
It's going to be like that probably the majority of the time. We strive to have something or to live whatever our status quo is in our mind.
Mm-hmm.
Wherever we set the bar, that's as far as we ever go. And there's a lot of people who verbally, they're rich. They have notoriety. They're wealthy.
For sure.
They have this house. They have,
sure.
a happy family, all of that,
Yeah.
But mentally and spiritually and even emotionally, they're homeless. They're in a studio apartment at best. They're boxed in a small 4-walled room, and they'll never get past that. And as hard as they keep trying to physically go that way, because their spiritual doesn't align with it, and their mental, their spiritual, their mental, their physical, or their emotional doesn't, that's not the purpose. A lot of them are not even walking in their power. A lot of us aren't walking in our purpose. And we wonder why we keep failing.
Right.
Some of us are still making music and rapping, and we got a lot of yes men around us. And, I'm going to play it, for my boy. My boys love it. My boys told me this is it.
Right.
I'm hot.
Right.
You not hot, bro. You not hot. Hey, Troy, let me hop on Wichita, man. I want to try. You not hot. This is not good. It's not dope. It's not cool. And we still stuck there. That's why you got everybody telling you it's dope and it's not, I'm just saying in general, generally. And we haven't really sat back and tried to find out what our purpose is, where our focus should be. You know, we got families and kids that we need to feed, and we playing with it.
Yeah.
You know, we got communities that we need to lead, period. We sit back and wonder why Black Wall Street was so much of a threat to not just, you know, white people or the culture down there, but the world.
It still is a threat.
It's like, what do you think would happen if we actually stopped all the BS, focused on our purpose, focused on our what our walk should be like, and go where we need to go? What do you think would happen if it's just started in a community like where we live?
Right.
And we started with 5 guys. We started this with 5 guys, you know, where we're at now. 5 guys. And we stuck with those 5 guys, and we had the same mindset. And everything we did here and outside with our families, in our homes and our kids, our schools, our communities, our churches, where would we be right now? But we're selfish.
It's a good question. That's what it goes back to.
We're selfish.
That's what it goes back to. You got the knowledge and you got the game, but you don't want to see somebody in a better position that you were, because there's 2 things that happen. One, you want the credit for when somebody's doing amazing and great. When at the end of the day, you had your time to be amazing and great, but you didn't want to take the time to accept the blessings or put in the work that you had to do. Yes, you got to where you needed to be, but the problem is you wanted to do things your way. But then when you give 75% to somebody who soaks up 100% and then is 125% better than you was, well, you going to give me credit. You wouldn't have been nothing if you'd have came to me. First selfish reason. The second thing is you got to get taken out. The mentality where, nah, you ain't going to be around while I'm around because I'm the big dog. So if I'm number one and I'm on top, can't nobody else be on top. We can all eat. Everybody wants to eat. But a lot of people don't want to see somebody eating better than them if they doing the same thing. So those are 2 issues. But a lot of that goes back to, and this is what I was going to say, when you said they're mentally, spiritually, or emotionally locked in, the lock is always on the inside of the room. It's never on the outside. Ain't nobody locking you in. You got yourself locked in, and the reason why it's locked is because you don't want to step outside your comfort zone.
Bro, it's the imagination.
That's all it is.
Your imagination keeps you there.
Your anxiety and your fear make your imagination misconstrued, because the confidence and the will and the blessings and your wealth is right outside the door, because you don't want to unlock it and take that step. You're just going to stay trapped into your own mental jail, thinking that everything's like this for a reason, because life's throwing it at you when the problem is that life is only as hard as you make it.
If we can get out of that mental prison and out of our heads, like I said, imagination. And I learned that actually from Jonathan Hoover, Pastor Jonathan Hoover and he was talking about, like, just this past Sunday, we went to New Spring. He was talking about depression, and he was explaining how his father went through it. His father was the lead pastor of the church, you know, and took his time, stepped back, and came back like, okay, I see what happened. I was taking on a lot, and I was just shutting down.
And you know, Michael Todd going through the same thing, saying the same stuff.
So if we can quit allowing our mind, our imagination to bring or to take on things that don't really exist, because anxiety ain't nothing but a bunch of thoughts that could be. Like, basically, you're a hypochondriac, and lack of sleep and bad diet and lack of exercise and stuff like that. But that all there, that whole, man, I don't know if I can do this. I can't drive on the highway during rush hour or business hours, or I can't walk into the store with all these people. I can't go to parties. I can't be around clutter. Bro, that's all things that we've put in our imagination, and that's what set us back. So I just want solutions. I guess at this point we need to go down the road of solutions. So
I mean, the solutions that we can have are they're good for a minute and they always get taken away.
Yeah.
So, for the kids, I know for sure we benefited for after school rec. Just somewhere to be where we're not in trouble after school, to where we don't have the opportunities to sit around and just have opportunities to just look at stuff and be like, I wonder what I can get into. I know after school activities is one.
And the parents need to do that for them. They need to make these kids go there.
Right. But also parents got to be more involved in these school board meetings and, going to city meetings to where we can support the funding instead of worrying about the wrong stuff. And I'm not a political person, but this is what I'm saying, is we got to stand up and we got to be in those meetings. If we want something done, we got to make a change. And a lot of people don't vote, and I understand a lot of people don't vote, but you can still, your vote don't matter about your voice. And a lot of people say your vote matters because your vote is your voice. No, your vote don't matter. It's the voice to the people who need to make it done. And then you still got to put in moves and everything. Because you can vote yes and then sit on your butt, but what does that do? Or you can say yes and then go out and try to make a change and then get support from everybody else.
Yeah.
And then that way you ain't got to vote on it because you put in your hard work and your money in to make sure it succeed.
Absolutely.
So that's one way. Another way is community events.
Right.
Getting people that's in a certain area need to get to know each other so you can rebuild your village. So at the end of the day, if something happens in that neighborhood and nobody's around, so-and-so knows who so-and-so is. That's so-and-so's kid. Yeah. Let me go ahead, take them in real quick, make sure they okay. Then call so-and-so, let them know, hey, this happened. I got them over at the crib. You can come pick them up whenever you want. We got to be open to taking these kids in and making sure they're safe too.
Absolutely.
And that's a part of rebuilding the village. That's the next step. The last step, of course, for us is we always going to say it's got to be spiritually. But to convert spiritually is for you to be emotionally and mentally okay. Because we know spiritually is going to take over everything. Yeah. But for those who don't believe, you need to be emotionally and mentally okay to where you're at peace with your life. Right. And you got to understand that your lifestyle is not going to be the same as everybody else's. Exactly. Your lifestyle needs to be what makes you happy. Right. And you can kick it with other people who have a similar lifestyle, but they're not going to be the exact same. And there's never a competition. The only competition you have is with yourself. Either you want to do better or you just want to be mediocre to where you cool with everybody else. Right. It's that simple to me.
I agree with all that. I say for these kids, for the younger generation, it's on us, right? It's on the millennials. But speaking specifically to us black men, we have to be hands-on with our kids.
For sure.
We have to be more involved with our kids. We have to be more direct with our kids. They don't know where to go. They don't have they don't know why. And that was something that I stressed to myself when I was teaching my teens at Tabernacle. I was sure to explain why we did anything that we did in the church, why they did whatever they did in the Bible, why these rules are what they are, what the laws of the land are, why they're in place, even why your teachers might teach you or treat you a certain way. A lot of them come, hey, my math teacher, she's so mean. She made me do this, made me do that. Okay. So what are you doing in class? They're never doing anything, first off. They're always doing nothing. I'm not doing anything wrong.
That's the first issue.
Because 9 times out of 10, you're doing something wrong. Like this teacher's picking on you.
And you feel like whatever you're doing is not an issue.
I'm like, but you just laughed really loud, right? Well, such and such told a joke, and I wasn't the only person who laughed. But you laughed obnoxiously loud, and that's not the only time you've done it. Matter of fact, it becomes a distraction to the rest of the class. You know what I'm saying? Well, that's how I laugh. No, it's not, because you don't laugh like that in here. And don't tell me ain't nothing funny, because I'm funny. Nah. But, we have to be more hands-on, and we have to be more direct, and we have to lead them. We have to show them. Do you remember that video of, it was in Baltimore, Two young black dudes, young black boys were about to fight, and everybody was standing around with their phones, and then a young black man walked up and was like, "See, look, see, y'all two, look at this. All these people want you guys to fight, want you to beat yourselves up, want you to tear y'all, and they laughing at y'all. You mad at him and you pissed off at him, and they're laughing about y'all being pissed off at each other.
Right.
That's not how we should be rocking, period. Yeah. So that's with the kids. We got to be hands-on. Next, we got to get to the point where we can say, I need help. I'm not doing right up here. Mm-hmm. I'm not doing okay right here. Mm-hmm. My heart is broken. Right. We have to understand it's okay to have emotions. We also have to understand, once we understand that our emotions are out of whack, to go get the help and to get control of our emotions.
Exactly. Don't dwell on emotions. Conquer.
You have to. That is so important.
For sure.
I'm tired of suicides. I'm tired of guns being polite. We gotta quit compete. Why are we so competitive with each other? Why do I need to compete with you to the point where if I lose or if I feel some type of way, I gotta kill you
or kill myself?
But we're competing with the wrong person.
Yeah.
Really, I'm competing with who I was yesterday.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? Yesterday, I was offered a fire opportunity. Today, why I didn't get offered another opportunity like that? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But I'm competing with myself yesterday. So that's where I'm at. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to hurt myself because I didn't do what I did or get where I needed to be, or I didn't improve from where I was yesterday. I'm going back to the drawing board and seeing, okay, what can I do better tomorrow? How can I improve tomorrow? What can I learn tomorrow that's going to take me up to that next step? You know what I'm saying? So getting help, we got to become better in asking, am I okay? And then going to go get help. So those are my two things. I feel like that's a start right there. Being hands-on with our kids and getting help when we need it. Don't be afraid. That's it.
The last thing I'm going to say for me is that as role models, parents, anybody that's of our age, between the age of 25 and 35, is to let these kids know we love them, but we're not their friends.
Yeah.
We just love you enough to want you to do better.
Right.
And, our parents used to say, I ain't your little friend. In essence, it's true. But at the end of the day, I don't want you to be mad if I am stern and hard on you because I love you and I see the better in you than you see in yourself. I just want to bring it out of you. So sometimes, yes, I'm going to be hard on you. Right. Sometimes, yes, I'm going to get down I'm going to be on your head. I'm not going to say nothing disrespectful, but if I hurt your feelings in a positive way, meaning I tell you the truth that you don't need to be doing wrong because you are better than the way that you acting. First of all, either you're going to accept it and you're going to believe it, or second, you're going to need to take some time to believe or to think about what you could be doing better.
Right.
But it's coming from somebody who's not out here doing the things that's causing trouble. It's a person that's at home, that has a good job, that's never been to jail, never been arrested, that has a successful life, professionally and at home, that has a good woman or something like that. Somebody that you look up to, you can't get mad at them when they try to come at you and get on your head. Yeah. They're not going to be your friend. But at the end of the day, they're going to be that role model that gives you that tough love in order for you to either gain your peace or give you the knowledge or both. But at the end of the day, it's still got to come out of love.
We're going to say this for another episode, but changing the narrative.
Absolutely.
Changing the narrative
for sure
of what we are right now. What the black man is at this moment. Because we're not criminals. I should say we're not just criminals, but no, we're not criminals, period.
No.
We're not thugs. We're not drug dealers. We're not baby daddies. We not just niggas. And
for sure.
You know
No, you said yeah.
We not just that.
For sure.
We're black men. We're strong. Yeah, some of us are in the NBA. Some of us are, in the NFL. Some of us are rappers. Some of us are big record execs. But some of us are married. A lot of us are married. A lot of us are doctors and lawyers. And a lot of us are family men.
A lot of us are men to children who have special needs.
Ooh, I love it. A lot of us are filmmakers,
For sure. A lot of us are hustlers with ambition, but get looked at a certain way because we're black. So if we bring up the word, I hustle, or if I got ambitions, that get looks at weird as if somebody of a different race would say it, because somebody of a different race would be like, that's dope. Instead of everybody thinking we related to drugs and everything like the narrative.
Right. A lot of us are leaders in our community. A lot of us do mentor kids. But here's a big one. A lot of us are happy doing it. We're happy doing it. So I'm gonna leave this. I'm gonna start the show with this. You ask it back. But I'm going to start the show with this all the time, and I want to end it with this. I'm going to always do it. Hey, black man, are you okay?
I'm great, to be honest. It's amazing how far I've came, and the years of us asking this question on podcasts to see if we're okay. This is a therapy session for both of us, I feel. And yes, I'm great at this moment. The question is, though, if I'm great, not only are you great, black man, but am I doing my part to make sure you staying great or okay?
I'm great. I'm better than I deserve.
For sure.
You do more than enough on your part to make sure that I'm great. And I appreciate that. I really do. I'm great. I'm great. I'm good. I'm glad that I'm in, and I've been saying I'm in a great mental space where I can see clear. I can think clear. I can speak clearly. And nothing's foggy. Nothing is trippy. And nothing is holding me back. But I'm great.
For sure. It's all love, bro.
Always
I
love.
can't let them take my soul. Nah, 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 no. Oh, I can't let them take my soul. Nah, 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 no. See, we was cool right before it hit your fist, but it hit the fan when I got him down and pinched. But I took a break, I had